Good evening and welcome to Realty Coffee Talk on Avaz Entertainment in Canada around the world. My name is Tahir I. Qureshi. I'm your host. Tonight we talk about the impact of lockdown on real estate. As you know, we have Premier of Ontario has issued a province-wide lockdown on activities to stop the spread of coronavirus. Coronavirus has really spread in province of Ontario, and we are facing 50 to 100 deaths per day between now and end of February. Our ICU occupancy has increased, surgeries has been canceled, and they are projecting a tremendous problem handling the patients uh, if we do not stop spread of coronavirus. We are responsible to ensure that we do not become an instrument of spreading the coronavirus, and we also help to prevent this coronavirus. The reason of this lockdown is to prevent extensive illness and death, because if spread of coronavirus continues, there will be increased illness and death are potential. Also protect our healthcare system. If our system is overwhelmed by the spread of coronavirus, we are facing a problem. Also, in order to resume in-house, in-school, in-person learning is very important to curtail the coronavirus. That is why it's very, very important that we follow the Ministry of Health and Safety guidelines when we are conducting business in real estate. So this is no longer, as you know, that the real estate is essential business, but open houses are not allowed. You are able to do the showing, providing that you do and maintain social distancing, take precautions, health, health, follow the health guidelines, and make sure everything is done right. You have to wear gloves, you might have to use sanitizer, you have to take all those precautions and keep the social distancing and also wear the mask. Each one of us has issued various guidelines for our brokerage, real estate brokerage. When we have a coronavirus starting in March, remember we were not prepared at that time. We have no idea how we're going to conduct our business, how we're going to do showing, how we're going to negotiate, help get the home inspection, and also those get the appraisal done. Lawyer has to do the transactions because there was a witness is required. They have to be present in order for them to certify, and many, many scenarios. Potential land registry office could be closed. Right now, non-essential, all facility has been shut down. Therefore, it becomes more difficult and challenging. As you can imagine, that we as a realtor, now it will have a significant major impact on our economy and business. And real estate is going to be affected as well. If you remember in March, when the coronavirus hit our industry, the real effect was a reduction of business impact was in April, where in March we have a 7,945 transaction. It went to 2,958, almost 50%, more than 50% down the transactions. In fact, we were in minus in terms of sales, in terms of transaction, then gradually start picking up in there. So if we are starting with this Ontario-wise, imagine that is going to affect every business. There are some businesses are allowed and construction in areas are going. There is a very specific guidelines that you can download from Ontario government site, which outlines which areas are affected. But we're going to talk about real estate. How can we conduct our business? How we can impact us? So it's very likely that now since January, whatever transaction has taken place is going to be showing up in February report because we are almost at the middle of January and things were moving pretty good, but all of a sudden now this lockdown. Now, when we are dealing with this buying and selling in real estate, so most important thing is we're going to be relying on virtual showing. So for the buyer, if they're watching, they need to get all the information virtually from the real estate professional. Ask them to send you the impact report about square footage. Tell them to give you all the CMAs or feature list in the house. Get the seller to provide you feature of the house. And then also think about that maybe a provision in a condition that you will be able or have the ability to conduct inspection after the lockdown is finished, because you are now going to be relying on realtors who is listing the property, and you're going to be relying on the lister who's helping you to buy the property. You can get all historic information from MLS. You can get historic information from GeoWarehouse. You can get all historic information from impact report. So already, only thing is that you will not be able to physically see the house, depending on the situation. You still can show the house, but you have to make sure that you're monitoring the health guidelines and your guidance from your real estate brokerage that are giving out to people who are buying it. You make sure that you are able to sign declaration that you do not have a coronavirus, and those instructions, the 14 days you have not traveled out of the country and other issues, or if you have sickness, please, if you have any sickness, do not travel, do not contact with people. All real estate professionals are required to have a declaration with them to show that their buyer, client does not have that. So I request all realtors to make sure that you have a signed declaration from your buyers, clients, that they don't have any symptoms of coronavirus to avoid the spread of coronavirus. Similarly, we will ask the seller agent and the listing brokerage when you list the property to make sure that declaration is signed by the seller at the time of listing. In case he or she gets sick, please stop showing the house. Be vigilant about it. Record all the visitors who are coming to the property to see the property, and make sure that nobody gets hurt, nobody spread the virus. So as you can see from there, now we are beginning of January, mid-January, and I think the southern Ontario, this lockdown is for 28 days, starting from January 12th. So this is a very, very serious. Unless you have absolutely necessary to go out, please do not go out. Try, if you are a buyer, try to get the maximum information. And because of lockdown, if you are not able to see the property, then put a condition in the agreement of purchase and sale. Consult with your lawyer how to draft a clause in which it gives you the permission to go back and check your property before you are able to close the deal. Because this is an extraordinary timing now. It's very, very important that we take precautions, and we are taking precautions to protect and be fair with people. Buyer and seller both have to be fair. They have to do their job right. So they have to provide as much as information possible to disclose any problems and issues with the house when you are selling a property. So this is very important. So as you can see, that when the coronavirus hit in March, it 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 shows in April the very worst condition in the marketplace. Now, this if it started June in January and up to February, it's going to show us probably some reduction in sale in February, and some may reflect in March. Until this recovery begins or this lockdown is lifted, you expect the sales will come down. Our figures will show us whether it is going up or down. So far, up to this point, the sales were really going up. It's very important that we also look into things that was going on. The Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, Ontario Real Estate Association, and Canadian Real Estate Association has always provided guidelines in terms of how many people should visit. Idea is to limit the number of people they visit to the showing. Most important thing that is left for you is to show the property, and you can have a overlapping, and there needs to be avoided. So that means you give a short visit and make sure no other person will come. And then when the visit is completely sanitize your house again and allow the second showing. It's very important for the seller and buyer. We both have the obligation, responsibility. And also, if you go out unnecessarily, unless you are doing a grocery or going to visit health or doing require a work that you have to go out, the police can stop you and they can find you for going out without any reason, and the services that are permitted. So real estate is essential because you need a shelter, but we must follow the guidelines of health. And as we talk about it, this is very important that we are able to see what are those guidelines and how we can follow them. So this is important, is how often, why is necessary for you to go out right now and risk yourself? Do not allow children to go and visit. Only essential wife and husband can go there who are buying, and minimize them. No children should be allowed. Wear masks, wear gloves, use sanitizer, keep the social distance even during the showing. Come in your account. I request to all realtors, please do not bring your client in your car. Let them come in their own independent car. Make sure they travel their own car and you travel your car, and so keep the social distance. Open the door. We request to sellers to please unlock the door if you have a confirmed appointment. Leave all the doors open inside your house. Please turn off all the lights to make sure that the buyer is not able to touch anything in your house. So any human touch needs to be avoided wherever practical possible. So this is going to affect. Now, if you are able, you have to essentially have to have a house to buy it. Definitely you go out and buy it and go and book a showing through your agent. If you can avoid it, you may delay your timing, because it will help, because only essential, if you have to sell your property, it should be listed. Yes, everything is functioning. We have now well prepared to show the property. It's absolutely possible to sell your property and show your property. We have to act very responsibly, be prepared, sanitize, clean the house for each visit. It's going to increase a lot of work. So now, again, in the previous episode, I mentioned about it. Sellers, they may have to allow using a Skype or FaceTime or other mechanism to tour around your house And now virtual showing, those 3D showing become more necessary now. I was talking to a company who has a very good floor plans and virtual tool. You can go walk through and you can actually see the house. It's very, very important that we all now implement those 3D program for virtual showing of the house. And you can physically see those improvement or condition of the property when you are buying and selling. If you still have some concern about that you cannot see the property or for some reason that you cannot visit, please do so. Now, same thing will apply to home inspection. Some inspector may decide to go and visit the property. Some may decide not to do the home inspection. This all the scene of the individual. It's going to be a little challenging for all of us now to find inspectors who are going to do that. Same thing with appraisal. Appraisal people required to do the evaluation of the property. They may use a different method to do the virtual visit of your property, and you may have to cooperate with them through your listing brokerage or broker agent or realtor who's working with you. So seller has now a lot of obligation to help to keep the house clean, sanitized, providing every opportunity for the buyer and the realtor, buyer broker who's coming into the house not to touch anything in the house. Turn on the lights, everything, keep the door open so they just push it and go inside. This is very important. Similarly, for the vacant houses, please note that you as a listing agent are responsible to make sure the seller is cleaning the house. They can arrange someone who's visiting the property. Because when you see too many cards in an open vacant house, that means so many people have visited. So what steps that you as a listing agent has taken to make sure that the house has been sanitized before somebody else comes in and visit? It's very, very important, because negligence of few people has spread so much coronavirus that we have now second long lockdown in Ontario, and people are dying every single day. Our hospital and staff, they are overwhelmed with the number of patients coming in ICU and also those being admitted for treatment. And so this is our social and civic responsibility to provide as much as protection to avoid spread of coronavirus. So this is why it's very, very important. So the most important thing is of workplace safety. So for real estate brokerage, we have our brokerage. So we want minimize effect by them coming to us. So I request all the brokerage, please ask the buyer to deposit direct deposits into the trust account, real estate trust account, and provide you the receipt. This is very important, because coming to your offices are closed because you can't talk with them. So best thing is to transfer electronic transfer of funds to real estate trust account and provide you the evidence the fund has been transferred. And then you can issue the proper receipt. This is very, very important. If anyone need any information, you can electronically send an email by email to them. This is very important. We need to keep the social distance. We have to take new measures and activity to make sure that we are able to provide the safe workplace for employees. This is very, very important. Now, if you are issuing a receipt, you can email a PDF copy to the buyer and seller, and you can create all documents. If you're a realtor, you are able to, if you have negotiated a deal, you can electronically send a PDF to your brokerage and send information to them. Similarly, the lawyers are also doing a lot of electronic transfer, because you have a lot of pending transaction right now, and they will be coming to close. And if there are some challenges, provided that to make sure there are some provision in the contract, in the agreement of purchase and sale, that something happens because of delay, that you are cooperating. Remember, we have talked about that in our first show when we have a coronavirus that hit us. I decided now not to even go to studio because of the same reason. Even though TV is essential and we can travel, but trying to avoid that because it's very, very important that we also avoid. And also prohibition of number of people indoor and out that you meet. You try to stay with your family. These are the cases. This is the issue. So this shutdown is coronavirus is really, really affecting us and really is going to be a big problem. And as you know, the government of Ontario is giving $20,000 to small business support grant. Is it going to be a grant giving to them? So you have to make sure if you are representing a client, you can tell them that there is a government of Ontario high priority community strategy that they want to provide some funding to them. So this is again now we don't know at this time if there is any special program coming from the federal government, how it's going to affect us. But this is very, very important. This particular grant is available as of effective 201 on December 26, 2020, when the first shutdown was announced. Now we have a shutdown, and if your income is significantly restricted because of province-wide shutdown, then if you have less than 100 employees at the enterprise level and have experienced a minimum of 20% revenue decline, and you are entitled to this 20,000 program. So you will have to apply for this program to the entire government. So this is why it's very, very important. I'm just going to share some statistic about this. It's currently hospitalization for COVID-19 have increased 74% over the last 4 weeks, for God's sake. Look at this. Some of our friends and fellow citizens has not been responsible, and this is why we have this problem. And more than 15 times higher than any they were at the beginning of September. Can you believe it? 15 times higher than September when we have a COVID. So we have to be very, very careful, okay? Now, intensive care unit occupancy for COVID has more than doubled over the last 4 weeks and 20 times higher than the beginning of the September. Unbelievable. You see those? We have to act responsibly. So real estate professionals are very responsible professionals. They understand this. We get guidance from our Canadian Real Estate Association, Ontario Real Estate Association, Toronto Real Estate Board, Mississauga Real Estate Board. We give guidance from our professionals to follow the strict guidelines to make sure we don't spread this. All offices are closed. So this is why it's very important. Based on the latest modeling data, cases across provinces are continuing to grow, and the number of people requiring anesthesia care is projected to rise more than 300 people within the next 10 days. So you can see that. It's very, very important. So you have to make sure that this is what is happening. You have to make sure that you are protecting and make sure that you are not causing any problem. So I'm just going to share some information with you. If you have symptoms, get tested. There are still programs, tested, and stay away from the people. So this is why it's very, very important for all of us that we are able to stay. Physical distance is very, very important. We have a real estate guidelines that was put out, and we have seen them through our association. So it's very, very important that we follow those. Use electronic and virtually marketing. Keep social distance 2 meters away from each other when you're doing even showing a property. We're not doing open houses are prohibited by Ontario government. So only thing you're doing is showing a property, or you're meeting a seller for listing a property. You can get everything done by this if you like to physically go and see the property. you can, or the company that you hired who will do the virtual tour, they have to take all the precautions to make sure the house sanitized before you going in. And duration of the showing has to be limited to a short period of time, and number of people needs to be restricted. And our pre-screening and pre-registration and scheduling, we have to register them. We have to make sure everybody sign COVID declaration, and then we all register them, and we can schedule them in a way it doesn't bring too many people to the house. And please do not bring children to the school, and when possible, uh, keep yourself a distance when you are in the house, when you're showing, and keep the maintain your social distancing. Disinfect and sanitize is very important that you carry a home sanitizer with you, and wipes and use when you're doing opening the door, or you're opening the lock, accessing the key. And this sanitizer should be available at the entry of the house, or your realtor should carry it. This is very important. And any time that you are there, please do not touch anything, surface, and pay particular attention to common areas. You know, those handle, door knocks, these are the things, your switches, those are common areas. So if you're going to touch anything, you don't touch it. But if you have to, make sure you have a hand sanitizer, that you are not, you're not causing a problem or spreading any hygiene. So this is very important that you wash your hands when you are going in. Do not use anybody's toilet when you are in the house. Make sure you clean. Now, these are the precautions you have to take. Surface, do not touch any surface, because if you do, you have to clean. And especially if you're coughing, you're sneezing, the droplets can spread. And this is why it's very important to avoid that. Now, if you have to share information about the property, you can do Zoom or other methods, Skype, or many platforms available to you to share with information, discuss your listing agreement by BRA, or even agreement of purchase sale. You can discuss the details through video conferencing. Is very, very important, because, and you can record that. And when you are able to do that, I think we already adopted new mechanism because of coronavirus. It'd be much easier for us to do those things now, but you also want to make sure your client, buyer or seller, both are following the same instruction. And interior, turning on lights, carrying out the activities, reduce the need for people touching it. So we already discussed that. Do not use bathrooms when you visit somebody's house. And also, leaving the doors open and windows in case for ventilation purposes is very important for you. And provide health screening information. So if you are a realtor, please have this health information available to your clients, the buyer or seller. Share with them. Do not physical contact with other people. Do not try to shake hands and hug. You know, this is one of the biggest challenge that we have as a human. We are not able to convey our appreciation and passion and relationship, how we build with that, by saying hello, shaking hand now, or hugging someone. You cannot do that. That should not be in your things of doing. Stop doing it until this coronavirus spread is there. I hope that you will be able to get your vaccine soon. They are being produced and being spread and being delivered to Canada as well. So this is very, very important that we are looking into all scenario. So definitely we're going to talk. We're going to take a short break from Realty Coffee Talk, and then we'll come back and we continue our conversation. Impact of lockdown on real estate, on Awaz Entertainment in Canada, around the world.
With a portfolio of success with Empire Business Center, a marvel unparalleled. Indus Empire Mall and Residency, showcasing your elite stature with grandeur. Step in your private kingdom, stylish drawing rooms. Live in the lounge of nobility, luxurious bedrooms, covered car parking, modern gym. Only 1 minute drive from the main gate. Indus Empire.
Fine Foods, now open in Barhaven area, Ottawa. Pick up or dine in. Also available on Uber Eats, Skip the Dishes, and DoorDash.
$2020 का लाजवाब ऑफर, जहां हम 0% फाइनेंसिंग पर आपकी मनपसंद कार दे रहे हैं, फ्री विंटर टायर्स और साथ ही हम मुफ्त ऑयल चेंज भी दे रहे हैं, वो भी उम्र भर के लिए। अभी आएं और इस लाजवाब ऑफर का लुत्फ लें। जल्दी करें, आपका खुशामदीद हमारे आउटलेट में, जो कि 60 क्वींस प्लेट ड्राइव एट इंटरसेक्शन क्लोज टू हाईवे 27 एंड रेक्सडेल अपोजिट टू वुडबाइन रेस ट्रैक। जल्द से जल्द इस ऑफर का लुत्फ लें। आज ही कॉल करें सुनील अग्रवाल को 647-703-0218। डिक्सी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स और अप्लायंसेस पिछले 16 सालों से खरीदारों की खिदमत कर रहे हैं। हम लगातार 4 सालों से खरीदारों की पहली पसंद बने रहने का अवार्ड हासिल कर चुके हैं। हम किचनर्स, बॉश, व्हर्लपूल, एलजी, सैमसंग और जनरल इलेक्ट्रिक के ऑथराइज्ड डीलर हैं। 5 स्टार खिदमत का लुत्फ लें। हम आप सभी को टीवी सबसे ज्यादा रियायती दामों पर देने की गारंटी देते हैं। www.dixieelectronics.ca हमारी वेबसाइट पर जाएं या अभी कॉल करें 905-625-5900। सभी बहुत ही मुनासिब कीमत पर दस्तयाब हैं, जो आप बाआसानी से ले सकते हैं। At Dixie, we sell quality and deliver confidence.
4 बजे देखिए आपका किचन विद शहबाज गोरी। सुबह 5 बजे देखिए सितारे और हम। 5:30 बजे देखिए मैसेज ऑफ मर्सी। शाम 6 बजे देखिए दीन और दुनिया। इस्लाम इन मॉडर्न टाइम मजहर अयूब के साथ देखिए हर मंगल शाम 6 बजे और हर जुमा शाम 5 बजे। थिंक अबाउट इट सलमान कुरैशी के साथ हर मंगल शाम 7 बजे। रियल्टी कॉफी टॉक ताहिर कुरैशी के साथ देखिए हर जुमेरात 7 बजे। टुनाइट टॉक रिजवान असलम के साथ हर जुमे को 7 बजे। देखिए तकरार कीजिए तकरार समीना जबीन के साथ रोज रात 9 बजे। आप देख रहे हैं आवाज एंटरटेनमेंट, आवाज आपकी, चैनल हमारा, जुड़िए हमसे।
Welcome to Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment in Canada around the world. We were talking about impact of lockdown on real estate. As you know, we are now well experienced as real estate professionals to deal with this coronavirus. Open houses are totally prohibited. Only thing you can do is book showing, keep social distancing, use sanitizer, make sure that you are screening your clients buyer or seller, to make sure none of them have the symptoms. Use that policy and procedure that brokerage has established for you to make sure that your clients are signing that. And if they detect any possible situation where they have symptoms of coronavirus, sneezing, cold, influenza, or fever, please do not visit any property, do not show the property, stay and isolate yourself for 14 days. Contact health office, Ontario Health, Canada Health, and Public Health Ontario to get guidance and help how to deal with it. Get tested if you are able to do that. This is very, very important that we have to prevent any possible exposure of coronavirus. It will not only affect you. There were some data that I shared in the past. If one person out of 50 has a coronavirus, that one person can spread to 174 within a day. And within a week, you will see it spreads. And in 4 weeks, you will have 7 deaths because of one person being sick in a gathering. So we as a realtor, we have a strict guidelines, and we are only allowing buyer and seller, wife and husband, or the person who's buying, 2 people plus the realtor. Children are not allowed. So by maintaining the social distance, using a high mask and disinfection and sanitizer, you are restricting or to spread the coronavirus. You only go out for showing what you have to. If you can avoid that, you can try it using a virtual program. Now there are many companies who are offering these programs where you can actually 3D see remotely. Mostly virtual tours are now 3D. You can go floor to floor, floor to floor to see the condition of the house. If you have to have a visit for the house, then you can also put a provision in the contract to have a site visit after after the coronavirus lockdown is lifted from the Ontario government. It is very, very important that we do not become an instrument of spreading the coronavirus. So historically, we learned that last March when the coronavirus hit, it affects the sale. Now, our concern is how it's going to affect and play with the employment within Canada. As you can see, even though in coronavirus last year it affected us, but the sale did not drop. At the end of the year, we have a tremendous sale, which I shared with you before in December. We have a 17.7% increase from last December to this December, regardless of this coronavirus in last year. How it will react? Because remember that it is based on the economy, employment opportunities. If this new lockdown affects the stimulus package that was given by the federal government and the effort being made by there, and it does not create economy and generate job for the people, it's going to affect our business. As you can see, 16.6% increase from 2019 to December 2020, 16.6% increase. So it did not affect the coronavirus. And most likely is, if we are able to contain this coronavirus, it may not affect real estate. Because you remember the government of Canada wants to bring more immigrants, and there is a shortage of houses most of the time. And this is why it's very important that to keep in mind that you still can show the property as long as you follow the safety, Ontario government, federal government, and Ontario Health Canada guidelines to make sure that it's safe how you're practicing it. Because safety of your life and death starts from you. You can be an instrument of not only hurting yourself, but you may be hurting somebody else. So it's very, very important that we follow very strictly our guidelines to make sure that nothing goes wrong against this. So this is a very, very critical for all of us that we are following, taking precautions, sanitizing. It is likely that once we control this pandemic and lockdown, and goal of the government is to open up, by this time we will have a vaccine for everyone, maybe next couple of months. But in the meantime, we have to make sure we don't become an instrument of spreading the coronavirus. Real estate professionals are very, very careful and caring, and they understand that because our livelihood depends on showing the properties and negotiating deals and coordinating with the lawyers, bank lenders, the banks, and home inspectors, and also with appraisers and renovation and maintenance. This is part and parcel of what we do for living. This is why it's very important that as a brokerage, real estate brokerage, we have guidelines. So as long as we all follow the strict guidelines provided to you by the Ontario government, Ontario Canada, Health Canada, your own brokerage, and policy procedure established, please follow them strictly and maintain a list of all the people who are visiting, get them to sign the form, and maintain contact information. In case somebody gets sick, you are able to notify all the contact information to Health Ontario or Health Canada, and also the people who have visited the house for showing purposes to the buyer and seller. It's very, very critical. We have to act very responsibly, because if we do not do our part, the hospital is going to run out of spaces, and we will have disasters in our hands, and everybody will be on the risk of, and difficulty will be many fold. You can look at the Ontario government site, and if you'd like to get some information about these guidelines, you can contact me, 416-451-3489, and I can provide you the information about the protocol and procedure you have to follow in real estate, buying and selling real estate. I take this opportunity to thank our health professional, doctors, nurses, paramedics, police, and our armed forces and security officials who are putting their life online to protect all of you, to make sure you preserve the lockdown and do not go out unnecessarily, and also health professionals for their dedication and commitment to provide health-related services to help our sick people for a quick recovery. And we may wish all of them to remain safe. All of you remain safe. Stay home. Do not go out unless you absolutely have to. On behalf of Realty Coffee Talk and Awaz Entertainment, we thank you very much for keeping social distancing and following the Health Ontario guidelines. May God bless you all. May God bless Canada. Thank you for watching.